Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Here we go. Hey, welcome to the show. Hope you guys are having fun out there. Know we are here. The okay, little drummer boy. Okay, rumpa pum pum. Well, we the Republicans are fully engaged in defending the president. The House has chosen to go ahead and pursue this mindless, embarrassing impeachment of the president. I just can't believe that the president is being impeached. I don't know if they're trying to embarrass him or if they think that somehow this is going to have some tarnishment of his reputation. I can tell you it will not. I can tell you that people are still very excited about the president and support the president wholeheartedly. If anything, this impeachment thing, I think it's emboldened Americans to say, you know what? We are tired of people like Nancy Pelosi. This is the same woman who told us about Obamacare that, well, we have to pass the law before we know what's in it. That's like saying, well, we have to um, start the car, drive it down the street, let it drive itself down the street before we get behind the wheel. Remember when Nancy Pelosi said, "We wait a minute, we need to pass Obamacare. If we want to find out what's in the bill, we need to pass the bill first." This is a woman who is a moron at best. I'm sorry. And this is not, I don't care if it was Newt Gingrich who said what I just quoted Nancy Pelosi as saying. He would be a moron. This is not about Democrat or Republican. This is not about liberal or conservative. This is about doing the right thing for the American people. Time and time again, and day in, day out, we have politicians who lie to us. Adam Schiff is nothing but a little mealy mouthed, bug eyed liar. Nancy Pelosi had the nerve. She had the nerve to say that these committee hearings were fair. The Republicans couldn't call anyone, couldn't call witnesses, couldn't call experts. Even yesterday, they had 3 liberal experts to 1 conservative expert. And he wasn't even conservative. This guy, he said, I voted for Obama. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. So he voted for the other person. And it's interesting how we can't even remember who that other person was sometimes. I have to really think, oh, yeah, it was Hillary. But Hillary's trying to get back in the race, believe it or not. This chick is trying to jump back in the race. Everybody's saying, well, Sanders is not going to get in on first ballot. Biden's not going to get it. Sanders is not going to get it. They're going to write in Hillary Clinton. I don't think so. She can't tussle with the Donald. But anyway, someone just asked me this morning about Hillary Clinton being president. I thought that was hilarious. I fell over laughing. But it's not a funny matter. Nancy Pelosi, man, I tell you, Nancy. It's really funny how we give the Democrats these names, Uncle and Auntie, and like Uncle Joe and Auntie Maxine. I'm serious. That's what they call Maxine Waters, Auntie. Should call her Gramps, but anyway, they call her Auntie Maxine. I think that's a travesty, but hey, I'm just one person. But I wanna play this Pelosi clip where this young man, this reporter accuses her of hating the president, and she comes back, man. She comes back like full throated. Watch this. Listen. Here we go. Yeah, let's see if we can play this from the beginning. Hold on. Nope, wrong one. Hate. Here we go. She wants to say, I hate him. Okay, okay, okay. Let's just stop it right there. Okay, stop it right there. The Dreamers. This is something Barack Obama put on us. He created this whole DACA thing, Barack Obama and his pen. And we're still dealing with this nonsense. The law says if you come into the country illegally, if you're here illegal, you are not a citizen. And if you're in the shadows, you're in the shadows for a reason. You're in the shadows because you don't have a birth certificate and a social security number because you came here illegally. Being in this country illegally is against the law. It's a misdemeanor first time. When you get deported and come back illegally, it's a felony. What makes these people special and above the law, Nancy? What makes the Dreamers above the law, Nancy? Gun violence and the kids. Well, let me just say this about that, Nancy. Your district encompasses part of Oakland, California. You have black children and brown children gunned down in the streets, and you're more concerned about people, kids being killed in the suburbs. All the kids at Parkland, those were little rich kids. The kids at Sandy Hook, they were little rich kids. All of these gun shootings go on in little rich kids area. And I'm not, gun shootings are bad. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic or vindictive or, dismissing over children being killed in school. The difference is the reason you don't see those children being killed in Chicago in schools is because they have what? Armed police officers and metal detectors, and the children get shot and killed walking between the school and the house. But Nancy doesn't focus on that like other Democrats. We have to change all the gun laws. We have to take all the guns because little white rich kids are being killed in their schools. Oh my God. Well, let me just say this about that. I could probably do a Google search right now, and I would come up with at least 5 young black girls who were elementary school age who were shot dead in their beds reading or playing with dolls in their bedrooms, not walking to school. Bullets coming through their house, all because people like Nancy Pelosi want to put black criminals back on the street and brown criminals back on the street because somehow we are mass incarcerating men of color. You're incarcerating them because they are criminals. Hello. These boys aren't going to prison because they stole a bicycle. These guys aren't going to prison because they have a short record. They're in prison because they're habitual criminals. And then they get in and they try to sucker people. Oh, well, I didn't have a daddy and I want to turn my life around. No, you got busted or you ran into the wrong person. Hopefully someone like me who will shoot you so that you don't waste the taxpayers' money. Because, they spend a lot of money on these criminals. I think some people say it's $36,000 a year. Some people say it's $72,000 a year. So let's just say it's between $36,000 and $72,000 a year that we spend on criminals. Whereas if we gave them that money, it probably still wouldn't be enough. They still have to commit criminal activities because it's not enough. They wouldn't think about going out and doing something else to make up the shortfall, something legal. And I don't know if that's true or not. Again, that's supposition from my perspective. However, criminals are criminals. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think that we should coddle criminals like, oh, the president, he's in denial of climate change. Well, let me just say this, Nancy. Most people who aren't on the government tit on climate change are against climate change and say that, what's going on is normal. What's going on is not drastic. It's cyclic. It's normal. And you have NOAA and NASA that have been changing temperature documentation, all to justify and support what? Climate change. They got caught. I mean, it's not like they came out publicly and said, well, we're going to change the numbers so that the temperatures are reflective of, they got caught sneakingly changing the numbers so they can continue to get paid. Remember this. When money is taken from the space program and you have a PhD in engineering, you know what that PhD turns into? Pole hole digger. Pole hole digger. You know how you have the poles for the power lines? That's what these PhDs in aerospace engineering and all this other stuff, that's what they were doing. I remember being in the defense industry, and that's what people were calling engineers who had PhDs, pole hole diggers. That's all they good for. It's digging holes for poles, dude. So that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with following the money when it comes to climate change. Follow the money. And when you follow the money, you will see that the people who are on the government tit are claiming it's climate change. And those who are not are saying, hey, let's look at these numbers objectively, and it just doesn't add up. But Pelosi says, and she orders the Democrats, at 10 o'clock her time, 9 o'clock our time, to proceed with the articles of impeachment. And she goes on to say, well, Donald Trump brought this on himself. This has been 2 years in the making. Well, wait a minute. So you didn't get him with Mueller. Mueller was supposed to be the end all and be all. That was the big linchpin. That was the elephant in the room. We have Donald Trump. We have corroborated evidence. Adam Schiff. What about Adam Schiff talking to some Ukrainians trying to get dirt on Trump? Nobody ever talks about this. They act like this stuff didn't happen. Adam Schiff was caught on not the radio, but he was recorded trying to get dirt on Donald Trump from some Ukrainians. Serious. Look it up. Google it. This really happened. But if you listen to Schiff, if you listen to Pelosi, if you listen to what's that other moron? Nadler, they would say, well, that's just Democrats we're trying to do our job. We're just trying to do the right thing. No, you were trying to bust the president and it didn't work. But Schiff, he got busted, and it was interesting that everybody's forgotten about that he took a call from some Ukrainians trying to get that dirt. That wasn't Charles Butler who did that. That wasn't Donald Trump who did that. It wasn't Donald Trump Jr. That was Adam Schiff trying to get dirt on the president or on his campaign from a foreign source. Should we censure Adam Schiff? Because that's what you do with Congress people. You censure them. Should we? I think maybe we should. He wants to go around impeaching presidents, which is a very serious offense. But these people have taken it very lightly. As I always say, remember that moron of a congressman, Al Green. I'm not talking about the radio or the record guy, the recording artist, talking about Al Green from Texas. Al Green, who said, "We got to impeach the president." And what's her name? Maxine Waters. Impeach, impeach, impeach 45. Impeach 45. We got to impeach 45. Impeach him for what? Okay, so they're crying to impeach the president for the last 2.5 years, right? Let's put this in a timetable. They've been crying to impeach the president for like the last 3 years, more than 2.5, last 3 years. Certainly, Al Green and Maxine Waters, two of the most vocal people calling for impeach the president. Impeach 45. So here we are listening to a tape recording that the president did this fall after the Mueller report didn't work. And you have these mid-level never Trumpers saying, well, I felt and I feel that the president was trying to pressure. This stuff will not hold up in an impeachment process. It will not hold up in anything. It's gone. It's over. But I tell you what it's going to do for Republicans. I'll tell you what it's going to do for Donald Trump. It's going to strengthen his position. And it's going to strengthen his position because the American people aren't stupid. And the American people don't appreciate being taken advantage of, being used. And that's what's happening. Let me finish playing Nancy's little clip here, see what she has to say. A heart full of love. Sure, Nancy. You don't love the president. You don't love Trump. You don't love much of anyone except the folks who flock to you. And, you're going to tell me you love AOC? I don't think so. Hey, but, I'm just saying, people. Look, so Nancy tried to give us a lecture on the founding fathers, tried to give us a lecture on what our motto means. It means that they had designed the United States to be here forever. Well, that's all true. I agree with that. What I don't agree with is Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff's claim that their hearings and their committee meetings were fair and balanced, that their hearings were about the truth, that their hearings were about upholding the Constitution. That's where we disagree. We're going to continue to disagree on that because it's very clear that they were totally against this president from the outset. And I can tell you, in my lifetime, and I can really honestly say that I really started paying attention to politics when I was about 8 or 9. And, learned that Dwight David Eisenhower, whom I, just loved and adored because he was the general in World War II. And my dad had this high esteem for Ike. Ike was something else. He was a good guy. So, and I can tell you that I really liked Ike. And then along comes Jack Kennedy. And everybody loves Jack Kennedy. White, black, they love Jack Kennedy. Jews, Gentiles, they love Jack Kennedy. And when I say Jews, that's when Jews were Jews instead of being white. Did you hear me? That's when Jews were Jews instead of being white. See, Jews transitioned from being Jews to being white during the Civil Rights Movement. They, switched horses. But I remember the Jewish men in my neighborhood saying, "Don't call me a white man. I am not white. I'm a Jew." Today, they don't try to, deal with it. It's like they're Jewish when they want to be, So, no big deal. But the real issue is we liked Kennedy. Everybody liked Kennedy. Lyndon Baines Johnson, nobody's really crazy about Lyndon. He wanted the love that Jack got, but it wasn't for him because he's not that kind of guy. He had a big old nose. He's ugly. Had a big Southern drawl. Used the N word a lot. Nigger this, nigger that. Only he used the ER instead of GA. That's according to the black people who work for him, not Charles Butler. It's not Charles Butler talking about the tapes that I've heard. It's Charles Butler talking about reading books from people who work for Lyndon Baines Johnson, black people. He said he used the N word all the time. They didn't think they knew his name. He said, this one guy said, I don't think he knew my name. He never called me by my name. He just called me the N word and boy, come here. So, he said, I'm going to make you a lot of money though, boy. I'll never call you anything but the N word, but you'll be a rich N word. See, that word is so powerful for some people. That word is so hurtful for some people. We don't even say, we say N word. That's not the word. I'm not going to say what the word is here because some people may be offended. Some people may, get a little, the panties in a wad. I don't want any of that. That takes away from the message. The message is simply this. We need to focus. We need to focus on what's going on in this country. Donald Trump is going to be impeached for what? Treason, bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors. He didn't commit any of those. And there's no way that you can convince me or anyone with a modicum of comprehension that his telephone conversation was about bribery or quid pro quo. Remember, they changed it from quid pro quo. They said the American people don't know what quid pro quo means, so we need to change this to bribery. Well, it doesn't measure up to bribery. That's what Tooley said, not Charles Butler, Jonathan Turley. Turley was clear. He's like, hey, there's nothing to impeach this man for. If you impeach him, you're abusing the power of the Congress. That's what Turley said. This is a constitutional law professor. You could tell this guy was just like middle of the road. Like, hey, this is the Constitution, dude. This is my area, my political leanings, my political affiliations, my political acumen is not up for discussion here. I'm here to interpret the Constitution as a professor. And he did. He was wonderful. I like John Turley. I've always liked Jonathan Turley. I've had him on my show from time to time. We're going to beef that part of the show up when we move over to CRN. So we'll be able to, better handle people calling in and interviews and things like that. We'll get back to where we used to be. That's what we used to do. But, impeaching this president is horrible. So now Hillary Clinton, she's out talking about, my private life when I lost to Donald Trump. Did you really think you had a snowball's chance? It's like Nancy Pelosi. Does she really think that they have a chance if they impeach the president? She's going to be on CNN tonight about 9:00 Eastern. And I can tell you, it's not going to be good for those people. Not going to be good for those people at all. Hey, folks, take the time, go out and tell your folks to tune in the show at YouTube and iHeart. We're at iHeart, Red State Talk Radio. We're at redstatetalkradio.com. And we're just doing our thing, man. We're out here blowing it. We're kicking it. We're kicking the doors off the hinges. And I can tell you this. I will bring it to you exactly like it is. I'm not going to play liberal, conservative. I'm not going to play communist, socialist, Democrat, even though I'm just going to give it to you like it is. There's nothing and at no time have we ever seen a socialist or communist country prevail and do well. Never. Not even Venezuela, which was the number one oil producing country in the world several years ago. Now it's in tatters. That's what generally happens. But America, our democracy, our republic, it keeps ticking, tick, tick, tick. And now it's ticking better than it's ever ticked or worked before because of Donald J. Trump. And I'm not talking Trump. I'm just saying this. What he did was eliminate the regulations. I was looking at an old PowerPoint that I put together for my for 501c3, and it's really interesting that, and I put this together in March of 2016, and everything that I covered in there: immigration, trade, remittances, uh, immigration. All these are issues that Donald Trump dealt with the way that I had proposed to deal with them. Amazing. I'm just saying. So I'm saying to you all, let's get smart. Let's tell our congressmen and women that we don't want them to vote for impeaching Donald Trump. Now, Nancy Pelosi seems to think it's going to fly in a partisan nature. So if they have this vote and it's all Democrats to impeach the president, it's dead when it gets to the House. I mean, it's dead, man. Totally dead. And it's going to be, and it will always be, because there's no truth to it. I mean, you don't convict or you don't impeach a guy because you don't like him. As Nancy Pelosi says, I think he's a coward. He won't deal with DACA. Well, send him back. That's how he wants to deal with them. He said, I want to send them back to wherever they came from or their parents came from. And no, they can't bring their parents here. No. But see, these Democrats know one thing, and that's that poor people and people who just arrived in America, they're going to vote for Democrats because they think Democrats are democratic. They support the democracy. They support fairness. No, nothing could be further from the truth. They want that vote, but after that, it's done. They're over, kaput, done with you. If you don't believe me, ask black folks. They're trying to get some new black folks. They're called immigrants. I tell you, you can't make this stuff up, people. You can't make it up. I wish you could, but you can't. You can't make it up. And what we're doing here, let's see here. We got to go live out here on Facebook. Da, 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 da. Here we go. So, as we, kind of looking at Nancy, and she was talking about the founding fathers and what the founding fathers thought. So, the reason I'm focusing on Nancy today and at this time is because Miss Pelosi is the driving force. She's the pinnacle. She's the whip. She's the one who said, we are going to move forward. She said, we're not. And, that wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have moved forward with impeachment. But she's saying that they can impeach now. Wow. And I don't know what that means, to tell you the truth. I don't know what that's going to mean in the long run. But I know in the short term, it's not going to fare well. It's not going to bode well with the American people. It's not going to bode well in the Senate. And when it gets to the Senate, it's dead. Totally. So Nancy's talking about the founding fathers, and here she is right now. Let's talk about that. Let's see here. I don't think. Nope. Let's see where she at. Right here. Let's see here. Oops, sorry, Nancy. Nancy Pelosi. Somebody told me they thought Nancy Pelosi and Willie Brown were more than just friends. I said I highly doubt it. As ugly as Willie is with his little bean head. He had Camilla though. That was his girl. Okay, here's Nancy. Let's see if we can play her. Wow. She can honestly say that with a straight face, and she's not concerned. She should be concerned. See, that is the sign of a tortured mind. That is the sign of someone who's not that well. She says she's not that concerned. She's impeaching the president of the United States. 63 million people voted for Donald Trump. Now, I don't care if she thinks that Hillary Clinton should have won. She didn't win the electoral vote. She may have won the popular vote, but that's not what elects the president. The electoral votes do. And President Trump had her by about I think 15, 16 points. Man. Mm. So they want to bring charges against this president. Almost, you're a damn liar. Biden gets into a back and forth with a voter. Oh boy. I'm glad he didn't get into that with me. I saw Joe Biden on Monday, and Joe just called this guy a damn liar. Ooh. God. Joe's getting a little senile. He's losing it. This was in Ames, Iowa. Called the man a damn liar. Ooh, God. Jesus. See, I can't, like I said, I saw Joe Biden Monday. Saw Joe Monday at the Union League Club, and he came down the steps, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he came right on over. Shook my hand, and there we were, Joe and me and Joe and I, we were right there, and we were talking, and I told him I thanked him for his service, and I voted for Donald Trump, and I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump again. And he was cool with that. He's like, hey, he said, that's okay. And I said, well, I wish you luck. Wish you luck, sir. But nobody can beat Trump. And they can go with the impeachment. It's not going to go anywhere because guess what? There's not going to be a trial. So the House can offer up impeachment. But guess what? The House can offer up impeachment. It has to go to the Senate to be tried. And if there's no trial, there's no impeachment. Boom. How about that? The founders were brilliant, weren't they? Just like when they put together the Electoral College, where they said, I don't care if you have more people than me, if you have more slaves than me, we're going to make this a legal, we're going to make this a fair playing field so that the little guy in Delaware can compete with their votes are just as important as the people in New York or Vermont or Maine, or Pennsylvania, these bigger colonies. So that's what the founding fathers did. And that's who they are. Great people, thinking people. And as Nancy said, they put this thing together so that we will have it forever. Let's see if we can play a little bit more. She said, I'm glad he made this. I'm sorry that the president made this necessary for the founding of the vision and his family. I'm sorry he brought this on himself, is what she said. He didn't bring anything on himself. And he should have asked President Zelensky, just so we can get this out, to investigate the fraud, the corruption, the stealing that was going on with our money that we sent to Ukraine. Something like, I want to say, $3.5 billion disappeared in the Ukraine. We only recovered like 1 billion. And I'm trying to find the story. Maybe I can find that story and talk about it a little bit. But I remember that they found part of the money. They found like $1 billion found. Let me see if I can type this in and see what happens. But they lost something like 3.5 billion, and it's really interesting. I mean, and people try to act like this doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. It did. Biden, by the way, had that $1 billion, and he said, hey, guess what, folks? If you don't stop this investigation into the company my son works for, you're not going to get this $1 billion guarantee. You got 6 hours. I'm leaving here in 6 hours. If it's not done, you're not getting the money. And then Biden's telling the story. Biden says, well, the president says to him, president of Ukraine, well, you're not the president. Only the president can make that decision. He said, call the president and see what he says. I'm just cavalier, man. I tell you. These guys are running things, like giants of the universe. Yeah, Joe, you got busted. That was truly quid pro quo. No question. So, but they don't call it that because he's a Democrat. Okay, let's play. Okay. Nancy's talking about the seal and the explanation over the seal of the United States of America and what it meant to her, what it means to her. And that's all well and good, but it doesn't mean bringing in illegal aliens. It doesn't mean talking about changing the Constitution and enforcing certain. It doesn't include enforcing certain parts of the law and not enforcing others. Now, Michael Bloomberg, I am so glad Bloomberg's in this race. Bloomberg single-handedly supports, funds guns violence. $59 million on campus ads. He spent $59 million on campus ads. The Colorado red flag law partially funded by Everytown for gun safety. Bloomberg's behind all that. Bloomberg's the guy who didn't want us to have a drink that was over 32 ounces because we didn't know that was hurting us. Kind of like cigarettes. Well, we'll just stop selling cigarettes in the city of New York because I think those cigarettes are bad for you. We live in a nanny state. And the thing is, we do it without, and we accept these restrictions without fighting back. Like an example, Real ID here in Illinois. Real ID only costs you $5, but you have to bring 5 pieces of documentation. In my case, I brought Social Security card, passport, utility bill, driver's license. That's what I brought. That's part of the checklist. And they even have a checklist. They make it easy. But they just said today in today's paper, we're hiring more people to handle the rush. The rush for what? They didn't tell you. It's the rush to get real ID. Dude, this is interesting. This is not a joke because you won't be able to get on a plane unless you have your passport or real ID. And I just decided, hey, if I get a passport, that's just one other thing to keep up with. Real ID, it's done, right? So, but on we were looking up the seal, the great seal of the United States of America. And this is the seal that you see with the eagle spread out, Just think of this, if this our national bird was supposed to be a turkey. That would have been interesting. Now, turkeys fly. I know there those of you who've never seen a turkey fly, but I can tell you turkeys fly. I lived and had a home over in Michigan, in South Haven, Michigan, and we used to see turkeys fly all the time. They fly right up to the top of trees. I'm talking about a couple hundred feet up in the air, man. boom. It's hard to imagine one of these turkeys that we see, you know, getting out there flying. But yeah, turkeys flew. They can fly. The Great Seal. Now, this is like our national coat of arms, and it's interesting. And Nancy Pelosi, the alternative interpretation of the some conspiracy theories state that the Great Seal is a sinister influence by uh, shows sinister influence by Freemasonry. Well, I'm a Mason. In the founding of the United States, such theories usually claim that the eye of the providence found in the seal above the pyramid is a common Masonic emblem. Interesting. And that the true Great Seal was created by Freemasons. These claims, however, uh, misstate the facts. Interesting. Interesting. I need to put on my glasses so I can reach out and oh wow, I can read. I can see. Hey guys, how you doing out there on YouTube and Facebook? Good to see you. Yeah, I can see you. Uh huh. Quit picking. No, I'm just kidding. I can't see you. But Nancy was quoting the Great Seal and what these things meant, and you know how we needed to honor our founding fathers. Well, I think the founding fathers would be rolling over in their grave if they knew that the president was being uh, impeached over a what do you call it? Phone call. A phone call where he did not say anything that would have impeached him, that was impeachable. How about that? Hmm. So I'm just out here doing my thing. We can see the Facebook and all those things, you know, kicking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to segue back over here, play a little music, take a little break, and come back. We'll talk a little bit about cancer insurance and how you guys need to step up, buy a little insurance, cover your cancer needs. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A little bit like Christmas. I can understand that. Hey, look, we all know someone who has breast cancer or had some type of cancer. It's horrible, debilitating psychologically, financially, when you find out you got to deal with cancer. Pink Ribbon Cancer Plan. That's what we're working with some folks who have a cancer plan. It's a cancer only policy. And it has benefits up to $250,000 over a lifetime. Covers a family of, doesn't make any difference, but we can certainly cover a family. And know that every 2 minutes, a new cancer case is diagnosed. So, what we try to do is to educate people about cancer and the potential to catch a case of cancer and sign up before you incur or anyone in your family incur a cancer hit. And let me tell you where you can call, get more information about cancer, this cancer policy. Call 800, I'm sorry, 877 659 6126. 877 659 6126. That's 877 659 6126. And mention the Butler did it. The Butler did it. Okay. So we've gotten that done. Got that out of the way. Got about 8 minutes here to pontificate, talk about issues that are near and dear to you, hopefully. So, as we, kind of shift gears, I want to, they haven't talked about Eddie Johnson much this day. I don't know, but what we're going to do is we're going to go out here and talk impeachment again and finish up with Nancy Pelosi and impeachment. She's going to be making the rounds tonight on CNN and MSNBC. It's amazing she won't come on Fox. Tuesday's reports a record number of $2 billion in U.S. donations. Wow. $2 million. It's amazing. $2 billion. Whew, man. The Donald Trump is accusing Nancy Pelosi. This is too funny. I'm starting to laugh because I know exactly what he's talking about. But he accused Nancy Pelosi of having a nervous fit after she rebukes a reporter. I mean, she really did. I mean, she was just shaking. Don't mess with me. When asked if she hated the president, she said she prays for president every day, every night. Sounds a little excessive to me, but hey, if that's what she wants to do. Mr. Trump again asked the Supreme Court to bar release of his financial records. I understand that. And he should. Let's see here. France. While Macron was at the summit criticizing President Trump, his city burned. It's kind of like Nero, right? Nero, the city burned while Nero said, everything's great, and Rome was ablaze. We'll figure that out. Now, California is barring insurers from dropping policies made riskier by climate change. Amazing. What does that mean? Well, it means people on the coast, they because the water is supposedly rising, that these people can keep their insurance, supposedly. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just saying. And, people who built homes in floodplains and things like that. It's amazing what these people have done and they continue to do. And people just kind of just don't get it. It's like, well, I'm going to build a home in a floodplain. It floods, stupid. So what if it hasn't flooded in the last 10 years? It's coming. It's a floodplain. But I saw subdivisions go up in floodplains and places that had been just flooded with water that was 2, 3 feet deep. And these contractors, these developers put homes there. But people bought them. They didn't know. Now, Cory Booker. This is an interesting topic. Cory Booker has said that he does not want. Do Democrats really want an all white feel in 2020? Cory Booker says, I hope not. Well, Cory, are you trying to tell me that you want to stay in the race because you're Block? Is that what you're saying? You want to be in the race because you're Block? You think that you need to be in the race because you are Block? Man, that's the craziest thing I've heard in a long time. Cory, what about you're in the race because people like your message? People want to see you in the Oval Office. What about that? Whatever happened to that? Instead of your Blockness. Okay, Senator Cory Booker. He came to Iowa on Thursday. They said he came to Iowa on Thursday with a question. One that voters, activists, and disgruntled members of the Democratic National Committee are also asking in the wake of Senator Kamala Harris's sudden departure from the 2020 race. In a year that began with the inauguration of the most diverse class of House Democrats in history and quickly built to the most diverse field of presidential candidates in history, all 22 of them at one point, do Democrats want an all white slate of top tier candidates to be the face of their party in 2020? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Cory can't. Cory can't make the cut. He can't get out of 1%. He's less than 1% in terms of support. So Booker says, and this is Cory, not Charles Butler. This is Cory speaking. He says, what message is that sending that we herald the most diverse field in our history? And now we're seeing people like her dropping out of this campaign. What it says is they don't like your message, Kamala. They don't like your message, Cory. You're no Barack Obama. Okay. You guys think that because you had real jobs and you had real accomplishments, that somehow Barack Obama, Barack became president and you can become president. Ain't gonna happen. Sorry. Ain't gonna happen. I love it. You can't make this stuff up, people. Can't make it up. You can't make it up. I love it. So Cory's, don't kick me out of the race. Get me some money because I'm black. Oh man. So Marcia Fudge, who's black, and she used to be chairman of the Black Caucus. I don't know what she's doing now. She's just representing her district, or half-ass representing her district. But she says we have a system designed by our own Democratic National Committee that is not in any way intended to elevate the most qualified, but is designed to elect the person with the most money or most access to it. That's why you're going to see an all-white debate stage. Ooh. Oh, well, looks like liberal racism has raised its head once again. Hey, look, we're going to say goodbye and segue out of here. It's about that time. So today's audio, we'll play a little Christmas music as we leave the scene. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you. Mm.